Hey guys, this is Apple Gamer 24/7. I'm here to give you guys today another Final Cut Pro tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you guys how to do some basic color corrections on Final Cut Pro. This tutorial can be simple to advanced depending on what type of video you're using and what type of light you're going to be using in your video. But basically, I'm going to teach you some methods that you can use in your videos to get more accurate colors, and some of the things that I use in my videos to get a little more accurate color out of my camera and also from my footage. So the first thing we're going to do, as always, you're going to open up Final Cut Pro 10. If you don't have it, you can either go download from the App Store. I'll have that link down in the description in case you guys need it, in case you guys don't want to find it. But anyway, here we go. So anyway, since we got Final Cut Pro open, the first thing that you need to do is you're going to need to create a new timeline and a new event. I already did this for us to save us just a little bit of time. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our footage from our event browser and throw it into the timeline. Now by default, yours will not look like this. You're most likely going to be looking at a symbol shelf like mine, which you have the inspector over here with no color attribute set up. Now normally in some cases what we can do is that I picked this picture of, or a video rather, of a man and a woman walking down the street. Now the reason I picked this video is because as some trees in the background which fill off the color a bit, and this also this sweater right here is not really the best color. It's a little more green, and the actual footage when you do color correct it is a little more brown. So it's just something to keep in mind, and also you can get a good idea what color correction is going to do with skin tone. So that's the majority of the reason why I picked this piece of stock footage rather than using one of my videos, because most of the time they are a little bit color corrected. So in most cases with this type of footage, or any type of footage rather, you can come over here to the color menu in the inspector, and you can click this balance button. And what this balance button should do is that it should automatically try to get the right color correction and the right saturation and exposure for this video. Now in my case, I don't really like this how it turns out, because it kind of like overexposes everything and this doesn't make everything look light. So I kind of use this once in a while. If it does a good job, I will keep it, but most of the time I just look it over once and then turn it off, so you can get a difference of what the footage looks like before and after once the color correction has been applied. So that's just one thing you could do. The other thing that you can do to make it sort of a little more realistic is one of the things that I recommend doing is that you can come over to the color correction button right underneath it and click the arrow, and you can get the entire color palette set up. Now normally in older versions of Final Cut Pro 10, this would be a little bit easier. You got the 3-way color corrector and a few other different color correctors, but this sort of in the new Final Cut Pro sort of creates into its one window. So you got 3 buttons on this pane. You got the color pane right here, the manage your color, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. The saturation, the manage saturation, and the exposure. Now normally to start out, I recommend using the exposure. Now this slider right here is going to be pretty the same. This is going to be your master exposure, so that changes all the exposure. But then you can get into the shadows, the highlights, and the midtones right here as well. So to know what type of exposure and what type of light is being used in this video, and to get a little more a better idea of what we're working with, we're going to come over to the window over here, and we're going to go to viewer display, and then we're going to hit video scopes, or command 7 if you like to use the keyboard. Now in the settings, I have mine set to waveform because we want to know the waveforms of what this is looking at, and I have mine on Luma to tell me what lights are being used, because if you do Luma, it's going to show you light just like it sounds. So basically, if you take a look at this, as you can see a bunch of different colors. You can see greens, and the greens are mainly the trees in the background. This purple right here represents the 2 people. The green sort of in the middle represents their shirt, and the more pinkish area is more of like this girl's shirt right here that you can see. So basically what we're going to do now, if you look at this little graphic out here, 0 is video black, so that's like your darkest levels, and as you can see the darkest levels are like right down here in this region, sort of like the midsection, and the whitest video white is sort of like at the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to get our color correction, basically what we can do. So mainly what I do is I kind of just play around with these 3, so I kind of adjust this, and you can see how it changes in real time. So sometimes you have to go down or go up. I'm going to bring that up just a little bit. I'm going to bring my midtones down so it comes a little more. As you can see, the color of the shirt's changing a little bit, so more true to color. So you basically just have to eyeball it and see what you're doing. Make sure you watch this graph. And as you can see, the trees are getting a little more better. And I can bring this up or down, depending. So we want to bring that down a little bit. So that's kind of what we want right here. So that's kind of good, and you can play with this if you want to. playing with the master just to see what you can do, but I kind of want to keep it right there. So this is what you guys sort of do for your color correction with your exposure. Basically, you got to watch this and make sure you're not going all the way down to video black, and make sure you're not going up to video white. So you want to keep it right in the middle as best you can do without having to damage skin correction or overcorrect skin color or the clothing. So I kind of got this pretty good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the color. Now this is where we can cool down and warm up our image. So the one thing that I like to do is I like to keep this on waveforms, but I like to keep this at RGB paradise. Now this is what is going to happen. You're going to have the 3 basic RGB colors, the red, green, and blue. And we're going to change it up a little bit. So as you can see, they are pretty much the same, but we do need a little more blue. So in my highlights, I'm going to bring it up just a little more blue. As you can see, it's sort of cooling down the image. So let's sort of just bring this up a little bit. Like so. Bring that down to a more lighter blue. So you sort of have to eyeball it, make sure everything's sort of like lining up with each other. Bring this down a little more down that way. Try to get as best you can, and then this one you can just bring down a little bit, or keep it at the same. Let's see here. So you sort of gotta like keep track of these little charts over here. So this is kind of like what you have to do. You have to eyeball these and then match it with your footage. So yeah, bring this a little more up to the greens. So there we go. That's a little too much green. And then sometimes with this, if you go back to your Luma, as you can see, some of the exposure got messed up. So what you gotta do is you gotta sort of change your exposure back around so it sort of matches as best you can. So too much. Bring this back. Ooh, bring that. Okay, so just kind of do it the best you can to get the video as mostly color corrected as you can. As you can see, I'm trying to do this as quick. So as you can see, we did a pretty decent job color correcting. So this is basically how it's done. So basically this is done and ready to export. Now what I like to do is I like to close this video scope by hitting Command 7 and get a full screen view. And what I like to do is I like to bring up the old color correction before it. And you can see, the difference here. So you can see that is a little more brownish. The pink is more distinguished in the shirt of the girl, and the trees are more true to color. So you can see how this is more like a blown out white, and this is more like a natural true to color as best you can with your video. Now I might have a few things over saturated because I'm just doing this quick for this video. But if you guys really had some time to play around with it, your video could come out really well. So yeah, guys, that's basically about it. That's basically just some basic color correcting and just some stuff to keep in mind when you're making your video. Obviously this technique isn't gonna work for every video. Every video is different, so you sure gotta play around with it, but that's just some general techniques that you can use for your videos if you're interested in doing some color correction. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video.